What is up, creators? This is Tom. Welcome back to another video. Come for the cameras, stay for the curls. Not so many curls anymore, thank God, because I finally got to a barber's. But today what I want to talk to you guys about, changing direction ever so slightly on the channel, because I want to talk about Macs. More specifically, I want to talk about Apple's latest announcements. I want to talk about the 2021 colorful pastel 24-inch iMacs. So if you guys have been following the channel for a little while, you know that I am a long-time Apple user. I edit all of my videos, like I shoot professional video for a living. I edit all of my videos on the M1 Mac Mini that you can see there just below my monitor on my screen here. That is such an impressive machine for its price. The release of the M1 chip is just absolutely incredible for creators and for pretty much everyone else. Like, it is super cool that we have access to an affordable but extremely powerful chipset on the Mac ecosystem. However, I've always been a massive fan of the iMac line, so I was super keen to see what Apple was going to come out with when they're incorporating their new M1 chip in the iMac line of computers. So a few days ago, they did announce the updated line of iMacs, or at least the 24-inch version of the new iMacs. They are in a whole variety of different colors, and unfortunately, I'm a little bit disappointed with this announcement and this release. I was hoping that they would do more with this product release, and that's kind of what I want to talk to you today about. Not a super crazy in-depth video, but I want to give some thoughts on the new update, what it sort of means for me as a full-time creator, why I probably won't be getting one, and why maybe if you do creative work, you might not want to be looking at this computer, and maybe want to be looking or waiting for the updated 27-inch iMac, or even a different computer entirely. First of all is the design. Now, the design on these new iMacs are like quite beautiful in my opinion. Like, I do overall like the aesthetic. However, that doesn't necessarily mean I want to own one. Like, they come in these crazy vibrant, beautiful pastel colors. But the problem is, in my opinion anyway, they're better suited to like being on display in a store versus on your desk in your office. Unless you have a beautiful, picturesque, sort of design-centric office, one of these pastel colors, in my opinion, isn't going to fit. It might even end up hindering the creative process. That is because there's a reason that most computer screens or computer bezels are black. That is because with a black screen, things just sort of blend in to the background. You can focus very easily on what's going on the screen itself, and nothing is distracting you from what you're looking at on your screen. That's incredibly important for a whole host of work, including Photoshop, video editing, photo editing, all of these things. Like, you need to be immersed in what you're doing. And these iMacs actually come with these bright colors around the edge, but then also a white bezel, and there's no option for a black bezel, so you're always going to have a permanent white bezel next to what you're doing. And if you've gone for one of the brighter colors, you might even find that these sort of bright pastel colors actually interfere with your color accuracy. Like, sometimes you might just be working on a project and you might be realizing that, you know, this green hue, this green tint around the edge of your screen might be slightly affecting the way you're viewing your colors on your screen. Like I said, there's a reason that the vast majority of computer screens, computer displays, TV displays are all black, and that is because it sort of just focuses the user on what the computer screen is actually showing. And then lastly, this is almost just like an actual design feature where I just cannot understand why they actually put it in. It has less of a sort of a functionality carryover. But this giant chin at the bottom of the computer, these new iMacs are exceptionally thin, and this chin, the reason that the iMacs have this chin and this sort of bit at the bottom is to actually store or allow the storage of some of the components that go towards actually making the computer work. The problem that I have with this is, why do you need this giant chin? When you buy a computer, you don't need it to be thin. It's not like a phone where this actually matters, or at least is useful if you have a phone that is nice and thin and doesn't take up a super amount of real estate in your hand without being chunky. With a computer screen, you sit at this computer screen all the time and you're not looking at the depth profile. Again, this comes back to, in my opinion, looking good in a store versus looking good on a desk. So that's the sort of design elements of this machine. And then the other consideration is the performance. Now, it is absolutely amazing that the M1 chip performs so fantastically. Like this computer behind me, the Mac Mini, this is the baseline Mac Mini with a storage upgrade. And that is such an affordable computer and just pretty much smokes any of the previous Intel computers that are under like maybe $3,000. That is unbelievable in a form factor and a price of that little machine on my desk. Unfortunately though, it seems like what Apple have done is they've just taken the M1 chip, which is now, getting close to being about a year old, and they've just taken that existing M1 chip without any improvements, put it in these new iMacs, and that basically means that it is the same as the new MacBook Pros inside an iMac form factor with very little difference. Personally, I do just wish that Apple had started to iterate a bit on that M1 chip. Like, they are exceptionally quick, so we may well get our hands on these machines and think they're totally fast enough, but the M1 chip isn't, an absolute, like, it doesn't handle absolutely everything you throw at it. Advanced video editing does really slow and chug this thing up. But like I said, I do personally think there should be a difference between something like the MacBook Pro and the iMac instead of just form factor. Personally, I think what's happened here is they have built this sort of middle iMac, the 24-inch iMac, and it seems like this is a relatively affordable desktop computer, desktop Mac, but it is not aimed at professionals. And previously, iMacs had actually always been aimed at professionals, or at least like massively popular in design fields, photography fields, because of one, the performance, and two, the design and the beautiful display. I know tons of designers who exclusively use iMacs because the fantastic display on the iMac screen. That's obviously not gone anywhere. I'm sure that the display performance is going to be exceptional on these computers, but I do think the new design is actually going to hinder the popularity of those new iMacs in a professional capacity. I have no doubt that we'll be seeing an update in terms of the 27-inch iMac. I feel very sure that it's going to be a relatively similar upgrade in terms of the sort of pastel colors. Potentially we might see an upgrade to the iMac Pro, and maybe that's where we'll start seeing the really significant improvements in performance, and maybe they keep the form factor a little bit closer to the historic iMac. But the thing is, you shouldn't be having to spend $5,000 on the iMac Pro just to be getting some level of professional capacity on your computer, because you're doing a lot of professional work on this little Mac Mini under my desk, which cost me what, $800. I have previously loved iMac computers, and I'm sure I will get a chance at some point to try one of these new machines out. I would love to know your guys' thoughts on these computers. This is kind of a little bit of a different style of video. I'm just sort of putting my thoughts down about these new computers because I think it's a super interesting upgrade from Apple, but definitely do let me know what your thoughts are. Do you like the new design? Do you hate the new design? I know they have been quite polarizing, so let me know down below in the comments. I'll be down there as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.